For the first time in years, the Leafs could end up with a ton of money to spend going into free agency. Over the last decade, the Leafs have loved to spend most of their money on elite offensive talent, and we've seen how that's worked out. Cheryl, as the Leafs try to change their DNA, should they consider overspending with a bully offer to try to pry Brad Marchand out of Florida and into a Leafs uniform?
It has to be considered, Gino. I mean, you heard the words out of Brad Treliving's mouth, and it was change the DNA. Well, what better than bringing in the rat, the Leaf killer? And when I look at his body of work, one of the things that I like about this possibility is that there was a big question mark, at trade deadline. Can you pull a guy from the Boston Bruins? Can you insert? And can you still see him elevate his game? Because there's so much question around chemistry. Well, he was plug and play, wasn't he? He's playing his best hockey at 37 years of age. He had 10 goals and 10 assists. 3 game-winning goals. And when you look at that Florida Panthers lineup, you could have said they had 3 number-1 lines. And Brad Marchand continued to elevate right through the Stanley Cup final. And I even had him in consideration for the Conn Smythe. So when you're looking at a guy that was playing close to 17 minutes a game, and you want to change the landscape of what you've done in the past, he is a proven performer with 158 playoff points. He does his job around the net. When ice closes up, he's got that intangible. And that is the script of DNA. So you look at the lineup, you know that they need to bolster their top 6, in particular on the left side. So yes, term could be a question. Yes, dollars can be a question. But if you want to be bold, you want to change your DNA, Brad Marchand has got to be someone you're looking at.
Okay, Cheryl, we understand the change is coming, but some Leaf fans are really worried, saying, whoa, don't go too far. Losing Marner means losing about 100 points a season. So, for them, is there a guy on the free agent list that you think the Leafs could bring in to replace at least some of that offense, but at a lower cost?
Yeah, we're not apples to apples here, right? And when you look at the lineup and you look at Mitch Marner, I mean, you said it, Gino, 100 points. You're not just going to come in and bring a guy in the free agent market and say, hey, why don't you just do what he does? That's not going to happen for you. But if I am looking at the free agent market right now, which is a bit lean, as we know, I'm looking at a right winger in Brock Boeser. He is a year removed from a 40-goal season. He had 25 goals this past season. He's a sniper, right? So now all of a sudden you could align him with someone like an Austin Matthews. He can put the puck in the net. He gets himself to certain pockets on the ice as well, where he can get it on and off his stick. He can be a shooting threat on the power play. So right away, you have given yourself an opportunity to at least get half the points of a Mitch Marner, but definitely with a shot mentality. So when I look at that and I look at Brock Boeser and his body of work, even throughout the playoffs, he can put the puck in the net and he's got a quick release. And so if you're looking at that top 6, I would be looking at the Vancouver Canucks and potentially as a trade partner or a free agent partner in Brock Boeser.
Okay, when Brad Treliving was talking about changing the DNA, he never got specific. So here's a question. Where does John Tavares land in your eyes? We know he'd have to take a huge pay cut, but is he part of the old guard they need to move away from, or is he a critical carryover as they shift moving forward?
He's a carryover to me, Gino. And I've been saying this for a long period of time. When I look at John Tavares, I see consistency. He did have 5 playoff goals. The only one who was above him on the Toronto Maple Leafs was William Nylander with 6. And at 34 years of age, you talk about production, he had 38 goals, right? He's net front on the power play, and he can come in and he can win a faceoff in a critical moment in the game. He was 58% this year in the dot, 53% as a career total. So when you look at this guy's body of work down below the goal line, fighting for the middle of the ice, I see intangible. I see a guy that takes a beating in the paint. So for me, he is a part of this fabric if he does take a bit of a haircut. But also when I look at the landscape of this roster down the middle, if all of a sudden you lose John Tavares, now you are very, very lean down the middle and you got to go find someone, right? Yes, of course, if you're a contender, you want to see John Tavares in that 3-hole. But you got to find someone to fill the 2-hole. And if you lose John Tavares, well, now you're looking at 2 centers, and that market isn't looking so great right now either. So for me, you've got to hold a guy like John Tavares who knows what it is like to play in the city with the pressure, and a guy who does have an intangible and has the ability to give you 70, 75 points a year.
Okay, as we run down our list of pending UFAs, and after you get by the top of the list, Cheryl, let's be honest, things thin out pretty quickly. So can the Leafs shift their DNA on free agency alone, or How aggressive do they need to be on the trade front to really impact this club moving forward?
I think everything's got to be on the table. And if you want to win, you got to be bold and you got to be creative. You have to think differently. When I look at this lineup, and watching the Stanley Cup final, you saw Edmonton, you saw some of their holes, and then you saw this Florida Panthers team, right? So when I saw that forecheck, I'm saying to myself, wow, if the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to come up against this type of matchup, they have to have a puck-moving defenseman right off the hop. They've got to find a way through trade, through something, to get a puck mover on the back end. So that first touch is off the stick, and it's a good decision. When I look at them up front, you're going to have a void with Mitch Marner on the right. So depending on what you can do in free agency with the likes of a Brock Boeser, you might have to fill that void through trade. But you're also looking on that left side. I mean, free agency Marshant is going to be a coveted commodity, including Florida. So now all of a sudden you're looking at this left side. And so for me, I'm looking at the holes in this lineup. I think they have to bolster their depth in the top six. Listen, Bobby McMahon, I like him. He's physical. He's strong. He's a linear player, but he didn't get it done in the playoffs, right? So I see him more on that third line as that left winger. Pontus Holmberg was on that second line left wing. No offense to Pontus Holmberg, does a lot of things well. He's not a second line left winger. So now all of a sudden you through trade have to figure out a way to bolster that. And this is all with the expectation that Matthew Knies is a absolute priority to sign, because if you're not able to sort of extend him, now all of a sudden down that left side you're looking pretty dang lean.
I can't believe we took this long to get to him. He's a pending restricted free agent, and the Leafs are going to have to use a significant portion of their newfound money to lock up Knies, because he's a critical part moving forward.